We're live. We're live again. Back again for another one.
Hello, hello.
I'm on holiday, and I've got my brother David
Hi.
to do all the work. Like that's what
Even though you're on holiday.
That's right. Even though I'm on holiday, I'm actually taking a holiday from painting, and I'm taking a holiday from thinking sometimes even. Anyway, we've been at it on this Nightwalker, or should I say David? The sound is really bad right now, but just trust me, once I move into position it will be better, unless of course the update to Microsoft has screwed things up really badly. So I'm going to start and okay, right, I'm going to unplug this thing because I can hear myself now, and that's going to be a problem, so I'll pull that out. So for those of you who are like, this sounds really bad, yeah, it is, but it'll get better because I'll be in the right place. But I'm not, right now I'm actually in a weird position. So I will start, shall I? Hi, welcome to How to D&D. My name is Fred Wheeler, and yeah, I'm on holiday. Going to be doing some painting. Actually, not doing some painting. David, my youngest brother, is going to do some painting.
Hello, hello.
And I'm going to talk and try not to distract him, and also to distract him and get him to talk as well at the same time. That makes no sense whatsoever, I know. But I said it before, this has been going pretty well. This Nightwalker is proving to be, well, a big project, basically. So, yes, we are going to shape the way things work. I'm going to put out a poll, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the... let's say I'm going to talk a little about, and ask a few questions about this new starter box. And I'm hoping that the rest of you actually present me with some questions and chat as well, because that will be helpful. Okay, David, what are we going to be doing today?
I'm going to finish the last of the blocking in on the highlights, just on the hands, and then start building up the highlights, and getting things brighter on contrast.
Sounds good.
So get the glow really glowing, and do some detail highlighting, and try and get this thing finished.
Hey, it's probably not going to get done today.
I don't know if it will.
No.
Yeah, but you know.
We're going to talk anyway.
Yeah, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
We're going to talk, and I'm going to do some painting.
That's right.
Yep.
I'll let you get the painting started then.
Okay.
So you're going to be working with the turquoise a lot today?
Turquoise a lot today. I'll use the blue as well, because I'm just going to be highlighting everything and getting it bright. But I want to get that glow really glowing.
Okay, glowing glow.
Glowing
Yeah,
glow.
yeah. That's a Nightwalker that glows in the dark.
Yeah, it glows in the dark. Yeah. It's a powerful creature. It can do it at once.
That's right. How's it going, M14? How's the painting of your BBEG going? Big blue evil guy. Let's just get real. It's a big blue, purple, turquoise, black guy. Yeah, the Nightwalker. The Nightwalker that isn't necessarily completely black.
Hey, look, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's some black there.
It's transition. It's high contrast.
High contrast. Okay, so David, some people have been asking me about where the heck can they find your channel. It's a very small channel, and you've got some stuff up there, but they want to know where you are, and I have finally managed to convince you to put more stuff up on YouTube.
After 4 years.
After 4 years. Yeah. So where the heck is it, dude?
It's on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's because of the spelling of it. I used my number plate of one of my cars to name it, and so because it's got a number in it and it's not just it's a number plate. Mm-hmm. So it's not so easy to find. So the spelling of it is RPLK8R, replicator, and that's what it is at the moment, unfortunately, because like Fred said, it's a young channel. When I was doing a lot of model cars, but I do a lot of everything now, so I need to rename it. It's something that people can find.
Right, something that people can find.
Yeah.
So today is the day where we will ask you this question. May not be in the poll that I've put up today, but the question is, what channel name should David adopt in the future?
Yes, that would be good. Yeah, let's have a
So brainstorm.
Yes, brainstorm.
Brainstorm day. What's the channel name that David should have?
Yep.
And I will have to also make sure that I put down a link to your channel so that people can actually find you.
That would be. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but now that I think about it, I should be doing that as well. Phew, you're out of breath, Jasper. What have you been doing? You've been doing exercise. I've been out in the garden. I've been weed whacking. I've been whacking weeds. And not for very long. I was pretty nice to myself. Only half an hour, and I was like, I was done. Okay, I'm finished. So it's not a lot of work, but I did some. So I thought what I would do is, you guys are going to ask questions. I would really like you to be painting or doing your own projects while you listen to us, or watch what David's up to. And if you're not, and you want to have a discussion around Dungeons and Dragons, I'm going to talk a bit more about this new starter box, this new Dungeons and Dragons starter box that Wizards of the Coast has put out in an attempt to dislodge the reigning champion, which is the original starter box that had the Lost Mon Fandom in it. Good luck, baby. Good luck, baby. I'm sure that I've done some better things in this and some different things, but have they actually done enough? Okay, so first off, David, you haven't actually watched the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon that was made for sort of like Sunday afternoons or Sunday mornings or whatever the heck it is, a Saturday morning, I don't know. No,
I haven't.
But it was pretty popular. It did well.
Brazil.
In Brazil,
yeah.
But I think also in other parts of the world. I think it was,
When's it from? The 80s or something?
Actually, that's a good question. It's when Gary Gygax was trying to get things moving, and I think it's just before when TSR fell apart. So, 1984, 1986.
Yeah, okay.
So around that time.
Yep.
So, were you even alive then?
Yeah, 1980 I was born.
Right, okay, 1980.
Yeah.
Okay, so but you were young, so you probably didn't know about...
I was young once.
That's right, well, we all were.
Yeah.
Is there even any type of extra dragons in this new box? Well, here's the question. We're going to go back. I don't want to give too much away.
Good question, though.
But it is a good question. We'll answer that question. Let's go straight to that. There is a dragon. There is more than one dragon. You do get to fight a dragon because it's dragons of Stormwreck Isle. So it would be strange to not fight a dragon. Are you fighting a dragon that you would necessarily want to fight? Well, that's a different question. I'm not going to say. I think that the players will probably not die, but I don't think they'll necessarily be that impressed by dragons. No. There are other dragons that you don't fight, and if you do try to fight them, it would be foolish. So there are the dragons that you talk to, basically. So, yes.
Which are generally the ones that me and Rosie would have decided to fight, probably.
Yeah. So, exactly. David needs to get into Gaslands. I don't know what is Gaslands.
Is it an Xbox game or something? Or is it a board game?
I don't know. I have no idea what Gaslands is. No idea. You did actually play the original Dungeons and Dragons online game, right?
I played. There's a Dungeons and Dragons game on Xbox I played, and it was good actually. I liked it, but it was short.
Right.
It was I was expecting a sort of a bit more immersive Skyrim type experience, but from because I can only play I can't play first person games anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of my eyesight.
Right.
And it was third person. So it's a third person style Skyrim sort of big adventure, but it was cool. There was a beholder in it. There's a bunch of cool stuff in it. But it just needed to be longer.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, but yeah, not bad.
Okay.
They need to make a bigger one. They need to follow it up with something big.
Right. Okay. So my understanding is now someone Jasper's got here. There's gem dragons now. Yes, there have always been gem dragons. By the way, Jasper, 5e has just been a bit slow on the uptake to actually include them in the game. So that's what's going on there. I would say, 1 a.m. You're up at M14. You're up at 1 a.m. Man.
No, it's all good. I do that too.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I won't give you a hard time about it. I mean, why would I? It's none of my.
I sleep a lot too.
None of my business. Okay. I just got my Hero Mini for Lost Mine. Okay, this is Is that Melico? Melico? I think it is Melico. If I got your name wrong, I do apologise. Okay, so here's the thing with the starter box. The new starter box goes from level 1 to 3. The old one was level 1 to 5. The Essentials kit, which I think is probably the next most popular one, goes from 1 to 6. And some of the other ones they put out, like the Stranger Things box, I showed you that one, and I showed you the Rick and Morty one. Neither of them actually took off that well. And so as a result of that, you know, they obviously didn't do what they needed to do, even though they were trying to capitalize on a big franchise to make Dungeons and Dragons more popular, so that more people would play that box set.
They didn't really need to. Stranger Things did that for them anyway.
Yeah, but you still have to have a good adventure, right?
Yeah, that's the point though. You don't need to make a Stranger Things. You know, you just need to get people towards Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
To play this original stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's the good stuff.
Yeah. So what do you got here? M14. Grasslands is a tabletop for Hot Wheels size cars.
That's pretty interesting.
I don't know. That's pretty small to paint, though, wouldn't it?
No, that's what you call 1/64th scale.
1/64th.
Yeah, I do 1/24th scale, but I've got a friend who does Hot Wheels, and he makes $180 off a Hot Wheel car.
Oh my gosh! Well, how much time though did it take?
Not very long.
Okay, all right.
He makes a lot of money doing that.
So here's my problem with this new starter box. One, it's done something right by walking the Dungeon Master through how to run the adventure far more than any of the other box sets, which is good. So that's a plus. And that's what you should expect from a beginner box, right? Is that rather than us assume that you can figure it out yourself, that you help walk somebody through so that somebody doesn't have to make videos on YouTube so that people understand what the heck they're doing. David gets the joke. But here's the problem. The pre-made character sheets, which I thought were really good in the original, they've got pre-made character sheets in this thing. And there's actually an error. There's at least one error. There may be more in the pre-made character sheets in the new starter box. What do you think, David?
Why release it with an error?
Yeah, I know. It's and it's a pretty glaring error. So the quality control must not have been that great if they have managed to make such a glaring error. And it's in the maths. It's not in just like a bit of narrative stuff, like something's been missed out or there's a bit of conflicting information. Like the mathematics on the pre-made character sheet is actually not quite right. It's out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, exactly. So that is not a good thing. That always causes confusion. They have pre-made character sheets on the Wizards of the Coast website that have not been corrected and they are in error and they have never gone back to actually fix them. And yet they leave them there. And so, of course, that causes all sorts of problems for people who then have to make adjustments because they realise, and you know, if you're starting out, you do not want to put out pre-made character sheets that have errors in them. That's just ridiculous. But making pre-made character sheets is a good thing. M14. I've got the Stranger Things box set. Seems decent. It's all right. I wouldn't say that it is. I generally don't feel like it presents the experience that people are expecting, and I wouldn't say the adventure itself is like particularly. I wouldn't say it's great. It's all right, but I wouldn't say it's great. I think the Lost Mine of Phandelver adventure is a better adventure for all of its glaring problems. So one of the things that they've done with this new box, is all of the artwork, all the characters that are fighting this big dragon on the front are the characters from the original cartoon series. So they're trying to capitalize and market this as like, remember the old TV series, the cartoon TV series, and all those characters that you remember, like Eric the Cavalier and Diana the Acrobat and what was it? Sheila the Thief with the invisible cloak and Bobby the Barbarian and Hank the Ranger. I mean, it goes on and on and on. So like, and Uni the Unicorn. Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, look at that. You should have seen the expression on David's face. Like, so you've got that. And you would think that would have nailed it down. Like you couldn't go wrong. This was if you couldn't sell the concept to people, this is the time to do it. Guess what? None of those pre-made characters are those characters. They're not even paired back to level 1. None of those characters are those characters from that thing, and yet the artwork's all over it.
So, who's running this company at the moment?
Well, I would have imagined some marketers who have been looking at all the surveys that people might find if they actually know they exist, and then have responded to how can we sell you more of our stuff. So that's probably what's been going on there. I think they had assumed that all they needed to do was to stick the artwork on it, and that was good enough. Yeah. It doesn't work.
No, it's just like everything at the moment. The people that play the stuff. It's like restore the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone wants it to come back. Warner Brothers isn't going to do it.
No.
So you guys they want to make money though.
Mm-hmm.
Give them what they want.
Yeah.
The people that play the game, the Dungeons and Dragons game, what do they want? What do they actually want?
Yeah.
Find out and give it to them.
That's right. Yeah.
Rather than coming up with your own ideas that are just not very good. I don't know. What do I know? I didn't even really play the game.
No.
But it just as a marketing type of thing, you'd think, hey.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a missed opportunity. Those pre-made characters.
That's what it is. It's missed.
Yeah. Those pre-made characters should have been and I think what they've done is they've just taken the original, mostly taken the original pre-made character sheets from the original box starter set, and they've just paired them back from being level 1 to 5 level up to level 1 to 3. And they've added in one extra, they've added a paladin character, which is new. Okay. So Jasper, yes, you're confused. What do you mean? We always had gem dragons. Yes, we always did have gem dragons. Sapphire dragon, the emerald dragon, they have always existed. They right back to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. Second edition, I know for sure. I don't know necessarily about Advanced Dungeons and Dragons first edition. I know this because they were in my monstrous manual for Advanced Dungeons and Dragons second edition. So they have always existed. And if you go and you check out AJ Pickett's YouTube channel where he talks about monsters, he will explain to you that they have been around a long time. They are not a product of Fizzband's Treasury of Dragons or 3.5. They existed before Wizards of the Coast. Yep, I've blown his mind. His mind has exploded. I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that to you.
I don't know. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So, often a lot of the stuff they make nowadays is simply just repurposed from older stuff. It isn't actually new, for those of you who are wondering. So those of us who have been around a while like the idea of trying to introduce you to new things, and then have to tolerate the Wizards of the Coast team presenting something and saying, oh, look, something new. And it's like, it's not new. What do you got here? M14, error. Yes, that's right. There's an error in the pre-made character sheets for the new Dungeons and Dragons starter set. Is it the new class, the fighter class? I don't know if it's the new... I don't know if it's the paladin or a rogue or something like that, but one of the characters does have an error in it. So we won't go into that too much, but that's not something you should have in a starter box, is errors. You should have been able to get that sorted out, particularly in the pre-made character sheet, and particularly around the maths, since they're supposed to have people who can check this stuff. Now, a couple of other things that I want to say is, so once you play through the adventure, since I'm not going to tell you what the adventure is, essentially, I'm not going to give you spoilers for it. I mean, obviously there's a dragon in it because the title of the thing says dragon, so obviously we're not giving away anything there. But where do you go from playing through Dragons of Stormwreck Isle? Like, there's no real easy way to progress. Now, Lost Mine of Fandalva in the original starter box set had the same similar problem, because you couldn't transition from that adventure to any of the other new pre-made adventures that easily. It was actually a little bit difficult. But you could at least sort of do something with it if you were homebrewing. And later on, they did try to create some adventures that would fit with it. This new one, I can see there being a lot of problems for people who just struggle with the idea of, like, how am I supposed to make this work? So how would you feel about you starting out Dungeons and Dragons? Your dungeon master runs this adventure. You go from level 1 to 3, and then they get stuck and they don't know what to do. How would you feel?
Me?
Yeah.
If the dungeon master got stuck.
Mm.
Oh, game over.
So you're probably expecting to continue playing from level 3 onward, right?
Yep.
Would you be happy with them saying, I don't have anything else to go with this, so can we start over at level 1?
No.
Right. See, there's your problem right there. With no easy transition. You can't transition from this adventure to the Lost Mine of Fandalva. You can't transition, I believe, into Dragon of Icespire Peak. And you certainly can't transition very easily from the Rick and Morty adventures, or which doesn't even fit narratively or even concept-wise. And you certainly can't, progress into the Stranger Things adventure than the starter box there. And a lot of these hard-covered adventures they put out essentially make it like it's too hard to work it. So you're going to have to homebrew after level 3 as a dungeon master, new dungeon master. Now you have to homebrew. Like, that's essentially what we're looking at.
It's right in the deep end then, really, isn't it? For a dungeon master that's starting out?
Yes, I think that's pretty much where I'd say it is.
Yeah.
It's asking a lot. I can see a lot of people wanting me to do videos on how to deal with this new starter box, and it will be because they don't know how to progress from after finishing the thing. They won't know what to do.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll need, honestly, help running the adventure, because I actually think, from what I've seen so far, and I don't actually have the box yet, but for what people have shown me, it looks like they've done a very good job of walking you through the whole process. So that's good. Cool. Yep. So that'll put all of those YouTubers out of business who are making videos on how to run adventures. Great. Happy for that. But look, if they've got a product that doesn't require us to give you advice on it, that's a good thing. Jasper, are dragon turtles dragons or just big turtles? Dragon turtles are turtles that are also dragons.
Do they have wings?
No, they swim.
Oh, like a marsupial.
It's basically called a dragon turtle because its head, well, it just looks like a great huge turtle. Basically, they just call it a dragon turtle.
Oh, like the Never-Ending Story.
That's right.
Big turtle in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're kind of like that, but these turtles are vengeful and like to eat the bottoms of ships out, take all of the treasure, and then eat all of their occupants.
What are they going to do with the treasure? They're giant turtles, sea turtles.
Well, I think the idea is, it's like many things. It's like, okay, can we have a dragon octopus, or can we have a dragon turtle, or can we have a dragon pig?
You can.
Apparently you can.
Of course you can.
Should you? You tell me. It's a little bit like, can you have an astral pig, or astral swine, or an astral guppy? You remember we were talking about those?
I don't mind all of that sort of stuff, because I'm used to it because of you.
Yeah.
But I've played 40k and Warhammer and stuff, and this is a board game where it's like it's just an army versus an army.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's nothing to it. It's just an army versus an army. That's it.
Yeah.
And they have so much backstory and fluff and everything to so interesting that you could make it Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, you could.
But it's just a versus. So why can't Dungeons and Dragons be as immersive as that in their creations of their? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
If you're going to have it, have a reason for it.
Exactly.
That's what George Lucas would say.
That's right. That's right. Snow leopard. Hello. I like the name. I've never met a snow leopard, but then again, I suspect that I would be eaten by one if there was a snow leopard.
Unless you had a pet snow lion.
Okay. Looking at the 1E monster manual. There is a Cloud Dragon, a Mist Dragon, a Shadow Dragon, and the legendary Fairy Dragon. Our DM threw in the latter in our ongoing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons game as a sidekick. Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, so
Fairy Dragon, that's cool.
I do know that Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition did have gem dragons. So Snow Leopard is probably confirmed that Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 1st edition may not have had them. But I can't be sure of that, frankly. Maybe they're expecting you to start over with a new game. I think, yes, so Snow Leopard, I think with the new starter box, Dragons of Stormwreck Isle, they are expecting you to start over or to make your own stuff. Making your own stuff is, as we just discussed, probably too much. And starting over will just annoy new players who want to just continue on. Like they've already played from level 1 to 3 and now they want to try something else. Rather than like, can we stay in beginner mode for as long as possible?
Yeah.
That's not how people think. So you can't work it that way. Even though it's probably better for the dungeon master than it is for the players. It's probably good for a dungeon master to play a couple of campaigns where all they do is go from level 1 to 3. But it's convincing players to do that. And this has always been the problem. Yeah, Jasper. Yes, that's right. Did he seriously just ask if turtles fly in D&D? Of course not. Well, that would be silly.
Why?
Well, hang on. I bet you there is an astral dragon turtle that flies.
That's cool.
With flippers.
Yep.
I bet you there is. Yep. Like, if there isn't, there will be. Very shortly.
Is it a bad thing to have a flying turtle, though?
Well, I mean, if you can have a flying whale, and you can have a flying guppy, and you can have a flying pig, then I think you can have a flying dragon turtle.
Yeah, cool.
In the astral sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. So, yes, there's nothing silly about that. M14's just retracted his message. I don't know what that was all about. Anyway, never mind. Snow Leopard. Just give them the fly speed, no problem. Exactly. It's law. You give them a fly speed. Okay, so that's one aspect of this adventure box that I am a little bit concerned about. The other thing is the rule book itself looks like it does go into a bit more detail on how the game is run, like the basic rule book. Okay, it's got the contents page is actually on the front cover. It's half of it. You've got art and then the contents page right smack on the front. Now, I know a lot of people don't like that, but I actually think it's a very good feature. It just makes it easy.
Yep.
It saves space, and hopefully that means you got space for something like an index.
Yeah.
I don't believe there's an index in this book. There was an index in the original box set. The original starter box set had an index on the back page as the back cover.
Okay.
So you didn't even have to flip through. Like that, it's there. So I think that is a failure by the rule book, but the fact that they've gone into a bit more detail on it is a good thing. Okay, but you've got to do everything right for it to be an improvement. You can't do something right and then do something else wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing here on the legs before
Purple, I'll do this. I'm doing the smoke that's coming out of like a purple colour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which purple is that?
That is McGrath or Magaroth Knight.
Oh, that's a Citadel paint. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass to get that thing open, I've always found.
Yeah.
Okay, so M14. Is the Stormwreck Isle in the Forgotten Realms? It is. It's off the coast of the Sword Coast. And it's not that far from Fandom, for those of you who know where Fandom is on the on the Sword Coast. So you've got that link at least, right? So it isn't that far away. So I suppose you could say, yes, we can bleed it into Fandom if you want. Hi, John. Is this John Zambrano? Oh, the angle here, if I got your name wrong, I do apologise. At How to D&D. Hey, I got a quick question. What's the best way to impress player into role playing? And what's that? What's that word? Immerse player into role playing. I have a hard time with that. Okay, John. So here's the thing: when you try to get players to role play, what you want them to do is you want them to do more role play rather than just fight and make decisions, right? And you're not getting there. There's no way to make players do that. Was I ever able to make you do that?
I wouldn't say that. You managed to get me to do it, and I wasn't very good at it because I was used to playing 40k.
Yeah, but I had. How did I do that, David?
You used the story.
I did.
You edged it out of us.
Yeah.
You edged out the idea to make decisions and to make them more interesting.
Right.
And then it sort of turned into role play from that because you're like, oh yeah, just you have to think about it. What else could you do? What's a few options here? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
one of the things that I used to do is I would role model role play. So I would do a lot of that. So you could see me doing it. So if you wanted to be engaged in that sort of activity and actually role play and talk to NPCs, you could.
Yes, you could. Yes, you were a character in yourself as the DM. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
we were a bit lucky.
Yeah. Well, but I also did it in such a way that it was like you were just talking to me. Like I didn't necessarily use voices, did I?
Not initially, no.
No.
Not initially.
I mean, I did voices on occasions, but not a lot. It was usually just me talking to you, and I'm just trying to pretend to be that character.
Yeah.
Yep. And then when I was not getting anywhere, what did I do? I would then force you to actually do something by now. How did I do that? It doesn't necessarily work, but what I would do is I would try to strike up a conversation with whatever NPC I was running with your character and see if you would respond.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Doesn't always work, but if you try to strike up, you select somebody and say, and focus on them and start asking the questions and start talking to them with your character as the NPC with their character, then that sort of opens up the possibility of the players playing and role playing with you.
Yeah.
But it's not easy to start off with, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not used to it. It took me a while, but I got there in the end.
You did.
Yep, and it was fun. It was real fun when it gets going. It's a lot of fun.
And now a lot of people talk about players role playing. Do you remember when you started out and we were playing and doing combats, you really didn't give a shit about the dice rolling or the powers or anything. You just wanted to describe what your character did, right?
Yeah. Like you wanted to embellish what he was. Yeah. It was more interesting to say, he gets his sword and the lightning creeps up the sword and he's about to,
Yeah. So you
Rosie's off hoarding stuff.
Yeah. So you did a lot of describing of what you did, but you were less focused on. I mean, it didn't matter if you were swinging your sword for the umpteenth time. Roll attack with your sword and damage. Like, okay, do that together, please. And like you would just describe something that was going on, right?
Yeah. And it didn't even matter really how much damage we were doing. It's more interesting about how we were doing it.
Yeah. But you took it to another level. I remember you dancing around or jumping around the room.
Yes.
Yep. So David used to actually do it.
Yeah.
He would step away from the table or the couch, and he would then leap around as he was describing what he was doing, and we could actually tell what he was doing because he would show us.
I'm a Star Wars fan too.
Yeah, that's right. So if that answers your question, John, you will let me know. If it doesn't answer your question, you will let me know as well. Okay. Snowy Leopard. Ask them what they want to do. Don't hold them strictly to what is written in the rulebook. That can help, yep. But what I've suggested is probably the easiest way. But you've got to accept as a dungeon master, even if you use these strategies, it won't necessarily pull what you want out of the players. You just have to be patient. Sometimes it's just getting comfortable with the idea of even doing that sort of thing. because it's really alien when you go from playing tabletop war games to go and video games like
Yes.
and then you've got to like, oh shit, the video game had the dialogue. I didn't have to actually come up with the dialogue. It's already been worked out for me.
Yeah.
Now somebody's asking me to actually talk as my character.
Yeah.
It's not so easy. Yeah. Welga Malik. Oh gosh, Wega Malik. I'm not going to give up on that. That I can't say it. Can you read that?
Wigamaloko.
Wega Maloko. Okay, thank you. Off the coast between. Is that Fellwinter? I think is it Neverwinter and Fandom. Yeah. You can see the road on the map. Okay, so yeah, that'll be I think the King's Road. I think it's the King's Road, or the High Road, or the King's Road. I can't remember which one it is. So that's one aspect of that starter box. Now, do I think that the adventure hits the right mark? Well, here's the thing. We're marketing this box set as dragons, so there's got to be dragons in it, okay? We're marketing it as characters from the original Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. Do any of the characters from the original cartoon, Purple Worm, yeah, show up in the adventure? No, they don't. So none of the characters are actually presented as pre-made characters in the character sheets that they make, and none of those are actually presented in the adventure as NPCs that they can interact with. So you can't play as those characters and you can't interact with those characters, yet they've got the artwork for them plastered right throughout the whole thing. What's your opinion of that? Marketing. That is just try. This is the sort of thing we do on YouTube when it's called clickbait. Okay.
It's like selling a box of cereal, the same box of cereal, but putting going retro with the old sort of packaging. And this is the retro. And is it a new flavour? No. Is there anything new? No, it's the same thing. But check out the box.
Look at the box.
Look at the box. It's awesome. You guys should buy it.
So for me, who is quite aware that the marketing of the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon in the starter box was actually probably the best chance of dislodging the original starter set, I think they've just screwed things up royally. Just because pre-made characters, nothing to do with it. Just got the artwork, nothing. Then none of them show up in the adventure. So it's a lost opportunity. Hi John, what do you got here? Oh yeah, you got my name right, and sorry for the bad spelling. It's right. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question the way you wanted me to answer it, John. Yeah, there's just images on the box is silly. I think the right move would have been to include some of the pre-made characters as characters from the original cartoon TV series. And if you weren't going to do that, then you needed to have some of the NPCs in the adventure be these characters. Although, again, for me, I think there are a lot of people who will be young enough that they probably don't know anything about the original Dungeons and Dragons cartoon, but I think even the new people playing are potentially an audience who have watched the reruns.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's a bit unrelated.
Yes, go for
it. In Dungeons and Dragons, do you have things like the Chaos Gods and that sort of stuff? Like, how much does that compare to the Warhammer stuff?
Well,
Do you have God? Can you face them and that sort of thing, or?
Well, you don't usually. Usually at high level games, that's when you would face gods, or you would be facing or dealing with their avatar.
Is the god more like a dragon though, or would you have a giant demon god?
Yeah, there are lots of demons and devils that are chaotic in nature, and particularly demons. They are more chaotic than devils. Tend to be just downright evil. whereas demons seem to be chaotic evil.
So do you have free reign when you're a DMM to create the bad? You know, say you want it to be a bloodthirster or something like that. Could you do that or not?
Of course you can.
So you just call it whatever you really want.
Yeah, you make it whatever you want it to be.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yep. So you're just doing a little bit of highlighting on those?
Yeah, it's all blending at the moment though. I think the main highlighting will be tomorrow.
Righto.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just still flowing the colours through.
Okay. All right. I won't try not to distract you.
I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be faster than this, but it's just not.
It's
But it's fun talking. That's what I enjoy about this actually. I don't have no one to talk to when I'm painting normally, so it's kind of cool.
What do you got here? Snowy Leopard. The cartoon is before my time too. I don't know about it until my DM talked about it the other day. Yeah. Now one of the things that I think is great is that a lot of those characters were really good characters, and they were essentially like level 1. I would say they would have been level 1. They had just been given magic items. Each one of them was given one magic item. They never, through the entire TV series, gained anything additional other than that one magic item that defined them. Hank the Ranger had a magical bow that fired like lightning arrows. And, the wizard, can I remember what his name was? I may not be able to. But he had a hat that performed magic. He pulled all sorts of things out of it, but usually he ballsed it up. He was really bad at it. And then Bobby the Barbarian had a club that he could use to smack things. It kind of reminds me of like Bam Bam from the Flintstones.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a little bit. Unity the Unicorn was just annoying and didn't have any real powers because this unicorn hadn't developed their unicorn powers. It was too young. So every time they had to climb something, the unicorn had to try to go up a ladder or up a cliff. It was a pain in the ass.
Almost sounds like the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon.
Yeah, kind of a little bit like that. And then Sheila was a thief, and she had an invisible cloak, made her invisible. And then you had I think Eric the Cavalier, who was basically the paladin. He had a shield that made him invincible. So basically, nothing could destroy this shield. So he could block things, and he could put up like a magical shield to protect people if he needed to.
But overpowered?
Seems a little bit, but he was also a coward, so that sort of
balanced it
out. And then you had Diana, who was the acrobat, and she had a pole that could get longer and allowed her to leap and do all sorts of things. And she could hit people with it, I suppose, or monsters.
But no less used to make people tell the truth?
No, not that kind of Diana. No. So those characters are pretty iconic. So they kind of go somewhere. Presto, that's right. The wizard's name was Presto, but Presto was
how original.
Really shit at magic, like super. His hat was really powerful, but he was awful at doing stuff. What have we got here? Snowy Leopard. It shouldn't be too hard to just make 5e conversions of the 3e supplement of the cartoon characters. So here's the thing. Like, why would you need to have to do this? Like, it should have been done the first time round. Like, they should have just done it the first time round. It would have made so much more sense, okay? And then hopefully the idea is that you get to pick up these magical items throughout the adventure. If the thing went from like level 1 to 5, level 1 to 3, getting a magic item at level 3 is probably too much. Level 1 is probably asking a bit much. But that should have been sort of the goal, ultimately, I think. John, probably going to watch the D&D cartoons. Well, fair enough. I think a lot of people will. They'll be wondering what the heck is the artwork all about, and then hearing these stories. What else? M14. A god game is always fun. Start at level 20 and go on from there. It's really complicated to run a level 20 character. You just wind up with people asking questions like, how do I do this? What can I do? I don't understand. There's too much going on at level 20. So I don't think starting at level 20 is a great idea. I do have to agree that if you play long enough, playing at level 20 is something you want to have to give it a go. Because it's a different experience. Yeah, presto. Jasper. So, do you two play D&D together? We used to. Right back 4E.
Yep.
What was the thing that you remember the most when you were playing with me?
I didn't realise how much freedom there was with the game, because remember I was playing 40k and stuff in Warhammer, and you let me repaint all these miniatures so I got to I made everyone's miniatures for them.
Yep.
And gave that, which for me, because I like to do that sort of thing, it gave me the idea to give them backstories and stuff, and it was a bit more immersive. It was really immersive when you did it. Yeah, when we played.
Is there a story thing that you remember from that?
I do remember the travelling in space on the boat.
Right.
Yep, that was fun, and I remember, and I'll never forget the Undead Dragon, because we almost all died.
Well, you guys all went base jumping crazy.
It was my fault too. I wanted to see my Undead Dragon that I painted in a game.
Yeah.
And so you just said, sure. Undead Dragon, good luck.
Zombie Lord.
Zombie Lord.
Good luck.
Yeah, have fun. And I'll just sit back and watch what happens.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just thrown in there, because you guys were fighting undead and ghouls for ages.
Yeah, in that town.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a precursor to the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, it was cool.
Do you remember the werewolf nation and the elf nation and Sam Hain, Sam's character, who wound up having to give up his character to rectify the difference between the two? Do you remember
Sam did turn into a werewolf, didn't
he? He was a shifter. Remember?
A shapeshifter.
He was a shapeshifter. Well, he was a shifter. He was sort of part werewolf, part bred that way. They're called shifters.
Yeah.
And he wound up. You guys were trying to figure out what was going on between the werewolf nation and the high elf nation, I believe it was.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Not
really.
No.
No.
I remember Sam being a shapeshifter though. I remember him being sort of a lycanthropic type of, and he was a shaman too.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yep. That was actually a class in 4E, the shaman.
Yeah. Is there no shaman in 5E?
No, there's no shaman.
Oh.
No, they haven't got that one. What else have we got here? John. Oh, here's a great question. Okay, we've got a great question.
Cool.
How do you make your traps, puzzles, and riddles for your games, and how would you set it up in your maps, or would you describe what's happening to your players? Okay, so here's a problem. I don't actually include a lot of traps, and when I do include traps, they're really nasty, but they slowly kill you rather than kill you outright usually. What I do is I have them set up in such a way as they operate like a skill challenge, and the more you press forward, if you don't try to get out of them, the more likely they will hurt you, and they continue to hurt you unless you try to escape. I don't use a lot of puzzles because I'm not very good at making puzzles, and I find that a lot of people in the games I've run don't really enjoy them. If I do find somebody who does, it doesn't mean that everybody else does. I do have a buddy called Wally DM, and he does puzzles and traps, and so I've got his book. He sent me his book, Wally's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, and I've tried to use some of them, but it's not really something that I utilize a lot. I'm going to probably talk a little bit more about setting up traps as a skill challenge in the future. Well, I know I will. Okay, it's not probably, it's definitely going to happen. As for puzzles, that's a different thing. I don't use a lot of puzzles. And as for riddles, the only time I've ever used a riddle was
a Batman game.
I don't know if you were in that game. I used it when I had a Sphinx in the game. So there's a specific riddle that the Sphinx will ask. It's part of myth.
You sure it wasn't because didn't I get you to put that Sphinx in the game?
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Necro thing.
The Necro Sphinx, yeah. Yes, I did. That's right. You were in a pyramid, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they did. But so there was a riddle involved in that one, I think.
Yeah.
And I included another Sphinx that included a riddle again in an adventure that you weren't part of later on. I can't remember. It was actually probably the same group, but you'd stopped playing. It was a bit further on, and we were playing somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I have used it a couple of times now. Now that you remind me, thank you. But I'm pretty sparing with that sort of stuff. I don't use it unless it actually sort of fits. And
George Lucas.
yeah. If it doesn't fit, don't use it.
Yeah.
John, I don't know if that answers your question, but I'm doing my best. Jasper, you played 4E. How did you keep your sanity? I lost
Did we?
Well, to be fair, between level 1 and 3, it was all right as a dungeon master. But after a while, certainly by the time we got to level 7 or 8, I was having to stack 3 encounters into one to challenge people. You guys didn't really fear anything after a while. I had to sort of make stuff up.
We were idiots, though.
Yeah.
We jumped headfirst into the most crazy stuff, and it was amazing some of us survived it. Yeah.
But you guys had so many things going on. And then remember, I was using those plot twist cards.
Yeah, that's right, you were.
And you guys could change and affect the story. And you started off by using them to make things easier for yourselves.
Yeah.
And then I said, look, if you guys are just going to use them as trump cards, then we just won't use them. And so then you started sabotaging everything and stacking them.
Brosy.
All of you. I remember you guys were like, oh, we don't want 1 card, we want 3.
Yeah.
We have 3 each.
Yeah.
And then
that's right. Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you're like, oh, how can we stack all 3 of our cards from every single at the same time into one encounter?
Yeah. I'm sure you loved running our games.
Oh man, when you guys were trying to do that, it was crazy stuff. There was a point where I finally had to give up on those plot twist cards because you guys got out of hand. They had all sorts of things. Like I think it resulted in tentacles showing up many times.
Yes.
Undead krakens.
Yes.
That you turned into a bloody worm.
Yeah.
yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I remember the worm. Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun. And to be fair, I don't think that the 4E game that we ran was heavy on tactical combat focused stuff. Although there was those times when that did happen.
There was a little bit. Yeah. It was more. I just remembered a lot of ridiculousness. But I there's you who does ridiculousness, and then there's us who just want to make it more ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then it just becomes insane. And you always used to say that our games were really quite intense because there's just too much crazy stuff, and it's all going on at the same time because we all did something crazy. Mm-hmm. But it was cool.
Did you remember going down the lava river? Were you there for that?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yep. That was a skill challenge that I built. That was a whole session there, just going down the lava river.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
What about? Do you remember the storm you guys had to weather when you were on a boat on the water?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a skill challenge. That was you almost sunk the boat.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There were a few other things like that as well. So included a lot of things. So we didn't just sort of use combat as a. That was just me, I guess. Snow Leopard saying that 4E isn't that bad. It's just very tactical, combat focused. It really depended on the person because I know that James, who was playing with us, not young James, but the older James, who would bring a bottle of alcohol with him.
Oh yeah.
He would run his games for 4E more narrative. There was almost no combat in his games when he dungeon mastered. So it really kind of depended, but I know that it was weighted towards combat. Jasper, I'm glad I got into the game when I did. Oh, that's good. So my friends continue to just play 3.5 through the era. That's fine. What's that, Jasper? You should see Puffin Forest's video on 4E combat. It's nuts, man. I have. But look, again, it depended on who was running the 4E game. I don't hate 4E, but sometimes I do see it it's a bit complicated. I feel like 3.5, 4E, and 5E are all way too complicated. And when I finished working my way through building these classes for online for dungeon masters and players and so forth, once I got all that out of the way and I go on holiday again, I'm probably going to rewrite the 5e game mechanic rules. I'm going to probably make a 5e light. So there's a lot less rules involved. People have been hoping I would do that. I wish Wizards of the Coast would do that. I don't think they will, so I will probably do it. It might be a little way off, though. It might be 4 months. It might be 2 years. I might wait until supposedly in 2024 when they update the game, we see what they actually did. And if I don't like it, then I will release what I've done. I have already found out that I can't do it legally, though. Because you can't take their rule system and just make adjustments to it, which is essentially what I would do. Quite a lot of adjustments, but yes. What here? Jasper, your brother's a troll. To be fair, I would say that I'm an instigator when I'm a player, and everybody at the table when I was playing was up to shenanigans. I don't think anybody was not doing that sort of thing. That's just how it is.
What's a troll?
Be honest, Frederick. Do you think Stranger Things ruined the D&D fandom? No, I don't. I think Stranger Things is the movie we probably should have seen. I mean, I'm happy to see what they're doing with the movie that's coming out, but I actually thought that the two-world model for a Dungeons & Dragons movie or TV series was the way to go. And with the original Dungeons & Dragons cartoon, they go from the real world and they get sucked in through a carnival ride into the fantasy world of Dungeons & Dragons and they have to try to get home. That's the whole premise.
Do you know how many manga TV cartoon series do that same sort of storyline?
I know. And the manga TV series probably got it from there. Or
I would say they did, because I would say they did that. Yeah.
But with Stranger Things, it's the other way around. The weird fantasy world that we're talking about is coming into the real world, right? It's mixing itself in there, and actually I think that is probably very clever because you don't have to rely on quite so much special effects. There's not quite so many green screens. Yeah, looking good. It's looking pretty good. What else needs to happen? We've got a few more minutes.
Just a bit of highlighting, really, and maybe a bit of wash.
All right. Well, do you want to keep going, and I'll keep talking?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let you have a little rest
Just
there.
have a drink of water.
Oh, drink of water too. Yeah.
Choose a toilet, actually.
we have 3 minutes, and then we'll be back tomorrow to do the
final touches.
The final touches. Yeah. So I actually think that Stranger Things has probably not ruined the game. I think it's actually helped a lot. I think that Critical Role has assisted. It may have. Let's not doubt the possibility that it may have created some problems. But I still think that there more people are interested in Dungeons and Dragons because of Stranger Things and because of Critical Role.
Do you know what's funny? You know what the creators of that show were really into when they made that show, eh?
Yeah.
Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
A lot of Steven Spielberg stuff.
Yeah.
They're real Steven Spielberg fans and George Lucas fans. So yeah, the retro.
Yeah.
And what were all these guys playing in that? And they just, what was popular in the 80s and stuff when these guys went? Dungeons and Dragons, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were the nerdy kids.
That's right.
And they were the ones making those movies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's why it's quite cool. I find it quite cool.
Yeah, I think it is.
I really relate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Stranger Things is actually good for the hobby, frankly. I think it's actually helped a lot. And I think... that if we can get more into it, then cool. My players never bring me booze. No, well, I don't think anybody brought me booze because I couldn't drink back then. And also too, if I had to drive anywhere, you couldn't drink anyway.
Yeah,
so
that's true. You usually did, eh?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of driving.
Yeah.
I had to go all over the place.
Yeah.
It was nice when I could just run the game at home at Mum's place.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dino Mancer. Hello, Dino Mancer. How's it going? Been a couple of years. What's up, Fred? Well, quite a lot, actually. I have been working hard. I'll be on my Discord today working on how to build skill challenges. And then hopefully I will have enough time to go over to Dave's place and we'll watch this new movie
Prey.
Prey.
The new Predator movie.
That's right, the new Predator movie.
It's now surpassed the original in its ratings.
Okay. I still think the original's pretty good.
The original is pretty good.
Yeah. Jasper needs wine. Okay, sure. Jonathan, heck, how's it going? Swing in to say how much you rock. Thank you, Jonathan. I appreciate it. I'm glad you think that I rock. I am trying to rock. We're trying to rock and roll as much as we can.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more of me, unfortunately, Jonathan. So if you if you didn't really want your feed filled up with Fred live streaming, unfortunately, it could wind up being about 5 or 6 times a week very shortly. I don't know how my household is going to be able to contend with it. You're going to hear a lot of screaming child probably most of the time, or yelling, gleeful laughter.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of that going on. So hopefully nobody thinks that there's something terrible happening at my end. It's just normal stuff when there's kids around, and occasionally somebody trying to make cups of coffee, squealing pots.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. What do you got here, John? How do you believe the Wizard of the Coast produce a half game with 5e with a bunch of rules being left out? For example, there's no rules for potions and other stuff, and there's more home brew then. Yeah, so look, so I think the thing is that they had tried to cut back on trying to give you everything for 5e, which I understand, that's fine. So cutting back on the rules is fine. I'm actually looking to cut back even more on the basics and look at rules more as a option when you're ready to put them into place. Because I think the rule system as it currently stands, if it had less there, would actually get more people playing. And then you need to have game rules that can be easily inserted into the stripped back version. So the idea is you have a basic engine that was very, very simple. And then when you're ready, once you're playing that game, you can strap in more complicated stuff as you get more used to playing the game. And you want those rules. Sometimes you might not want them at all. But that's where my head is at. Okay. What do you think, David?
That's enough for today.
That's enough for today. It's time to go and do some other stuff.
Yeah, I've got other stuff to paint.
And sleeping, I understand.
Sleeping, I'm not feeling so well today, but and I might actually pick through your collection.
Cool.
Of models.
Yep, you can have a look.
I'll have a look because you got cool toys.
Well, you can take them all with you if you like.
Yeah, you got cool toys.
I know. I mean, I'm gonna. Yeah, you might as well just take them with you.
Yeah.
It's all cool.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Cool.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll make sure that you guys can actually find David's channel, since I actually am subscribed to his channel on more than one account, as it happens. And dear. Should we do a quick show off? Let's do that. There you go.
There is a bit of black in there. He's black. His nickname's Glowy.
All right. Well, we're probably going to say goodbye because we're tired, and I've been talking a long time, and David's been working very hard. So, thank you to all of my patrons. Thank you to everybody who's been hanging out with me. And my brother David. Thank you, David.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, no, you're welcome. Thanks, and thanks for watching my painting.
Yeah, no, I did. It exhausted me watching you paint. It was very tiring.
Yeah. A lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah, a lot of heavy lifting. Yeah. So wherever you are in the world, whether it be the morning, the night, the wee early morning, the afternoon, please look after yourself, your family, and your friends. Be nice to your neighbours, and
keep rolling those 20s.
I think you might have to talk into the microphone.
Keep rolling those 20s.
All right. I think we've nailed it. The end of that. In that poll. And you want to type in a... Oh, come on. You've got that expression on your face. What are you going to do? Being gentle, okay? Don't ruin my channel. Really? I guess it means nothing. Press the button.